Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? So I just got done watching this light heavyweight fight between Isaac Chilemba and Sergey Kovalev. And now, before I go over what I saw in the fight, I did not think Chilemba was going to be an easy pushover. He's never been knocked out. He's an awkward guy. He's very resilient. When you start to, put him under pressure and land punches, and he will fight back. He's not going to go down without a fight. So I knew that before going into the fight. So some of the things that took place in the fight, I was not surprised. Unlike some fans, I don't look at fighters like they're robots or they're perfect. You know what I mean? So this right here was a very telling fight, man. That jab, Chilemba's jab, was finding a home often on Kovalev. And Kovalev is very athletic. I've seen him do his calisthenics and his stretching and working out. I forget which fight it was, but they were showing the way he works out, the way he stretches. So he's very flexible, very athletic guy. But sometimes he fights straight up and he goes straight back in lines. It comes straight forward in the line. Sometimes he doesn't show lateral movement. Very predictable sometimes with his style. The plus side to Kovalev is he has power in both hands. Sometimes I've seen punches that barely hit guys flush. I mean, scrape the top of a guy's head or, scrape his chin and knock guys down. So he has a lot of power, but he's kind of like a guy like, if you guys remember Tommy Hearns, for some of you older guys, Tommy Hitman Hearns. Hearns' power really showed when he can get full extension and he can be kind of at a long distance a little bit. And when he let full extension of that right hand go, that was where the power was at. When he was in close a little bit, although he can catch you with chopping shots, they wouldn't hurt as much as the long punches. And that's what I see in Kovalev as far as punching technique and the power. He gets a lot of his power when he gets the punch from a long distance, when he gets full extension on those right hands. You know what I mean? At least that's what I see. Chilemba, I probably gave him about 3 rounds. He got knocked down in the 7th with a good right hand. He got up and survived. Had it been a little bit more time in that round, maybe could have been knocked down again. But he's a resilient guy, man. And on fight night, I think both these guys came in around about 282. I mean, not 282, but 182 pounds. I believe I saw the fight night weights. So it's Kovalev. Sometimes people can mistake power for him being a physical fighter, and he's really not a physical fighter, but he has heavy hands. A few times him and Chilemba, when they got into their clinch, Chilemba looked like he was able to push Kovalev back without any problems. Kovalev didn't show resistance a few times, maybe because he knew he was controlling the fight, so he didn't have to put up a effort of trying to break out of the clinch. But he was getting walked back to the ropes a few times where I thought he could at least pivot it off and put the pressure back on Chilemba when they're in the clinch, and he could probably walk Chilemba back a little bit. He threw some good left hooks in this fight, but it was the jab by Chilemba, different little looks that he was showing me in the fight, kind of Andre Ward-like a little bit, as far as the way he'll dip down to the right a little bit, and he was timing Kovalev with that jab. Kovalev will come straight forward, boom, he was getting popped with that jab. A few times I've seen Kovalev's head pop back. Kovalev was very patient in this fight. I liked his patience in this fight. He wasn't, going out there rushing his way, rushing his offense, or looking for a knockout in desperate fashion. I mean, it looked like he was trying to set things up, but when he was doing that, Chilemba was able to time him. It's like when he slows down the pace, Chilemba was able to time him even better than I thought he would have been able to had Kovalev just came out, setting a faster pace, in my opinion. So there are some things there, man, for Ward to take from this fight and use for when they fight in November. Now, I know Ward, he has to fight Alexander Brand next, so we'll see what happens in that fight. But, man, Chilemba's a big physical guy, you know what I mean? And he was showing that tonight, man. It's just, Kovalev was pumping his jab, but he was getting hit flush with jabs, man, and a few right hands. And he was taking them well. Kovalev was taking the punches well. I believe in the 10th round he slipped. I thought he got knocked down at first, but he slipped. He lost his footing. Andre Ward, he was doing a lot of things that Chilemba, he can do a lot of things that Chilemba was doing tonight, man, with that jab. I think he can, if Chilemba can get your timing down, I'm sure Andre Ward would be able to. If Chilemba was able to land some good right hands after setting it up with the jab, I'm sure Andre Ward would be able to. If Chilemba was able to walk Kovalev backwards when they were clinched, I'm sure Ward would be able to. And I think Ward is a much more effective fighter on the inside. He's much more physical on the inside than Chilemba. It's going to be interesting to see, man, if Kovalev allows Ward to get his head under his chin and in his chest. It's going to be a rough night for Kovalev, man, if he allows that. But one thing I will say is this. I believe on fight night, Kovalev is going to be, his antennas is going to be raised, man. He's not going to have the same mindset as he did fighting Chilemba. The fight of being the States, so I'm not sure if he was just nervous fighting in front of the, his hometown crowd. I'm not really sure, but to me, he fights a little bit more nastier, a little bit better when he's, in other guys' territory, Kovalev. So I just think him and Ward, though, man, regardless of how Ward looks when he fights Alexander Brand, both these guys on fight night for each other, I expect to see the best of Ward and Kovalev on fight night. So he got past Chilemba, and Chilemba is tough. He is a tough guy. Is he a top 5 light heavyweight? I wouldn't say that, but I believe he is a legit top 15-ish light heavyweight. He just made it tough tonight, man. I don't expect Kovalev to knock every single guy out. I'm not one of those fans, man. Even for guys on a long KO streak, whether it's 25 fights or 10 fights or 5 fights, I don't expect guys to knock every single guy out. But Kovalev did prove that he hurts everybody he's in there with, and he hurt Chilemba. The last 40 seconds of the 12th round, looked like he was on the verge of probably dropping Chilemba, man. But Chilemba, was doing what he was doing throughout the fight, fighting back, finding a way to survive, landing his own punches, coming back with shots, landing some good body work on Kovalev. So, and Kovalev was returning the favor too with some good body work, but there are some things that Andre Ward can take from this fight and use for himself, man. This is going to be an interesting fight. I've said this before, months ago, before this fight was even thought of, but it's going to be an interesting fight, man. Ward versus Kovalev, but Kovalev looked very beatable tonight. He did, man. He looked very beatable. Looked like you can control him with the jab. Looked like you can come down the right down the pike with right hands. Looked like you can clinch him and walk him backwards and possibly beat him up on the inside. He stands straight up when he's clinching. Looks like he's more waiting for the ref to just break the clinch. We're clinching, the ref's going to break us. Ward's not like that. Ward's the type of guy that he'll clinch on to your arm with his left hand, and then he'll beat the hell out of you with his right hand. He's one of those type of guys where he wants to maul you inside a little bit, take it to the trenches. So it's gonna be an interesting fight come November, man. But Kovalev did win this fight. Probably gave Chilemba probably about 3 rounds. The first few rounds were closely fought. He wasn't beating the hell out of Chilemba from pillar to post or anything like that. Very competitive fight, man. But I gave the fight to Kovalev. Just my post fight. I'm out.